Bruce is in Santa Clara. Hey, Bruce, what are you doing?
Hey, guys. Just had a quick thought. I've been listening to you guys, and I just wanted to share some thoughts. First of all, 49ers fan all my life, and Kyle Shanahan, you can't get better than this. I mean, best play caller I've seen in the NFL, if not all time. Anyway, but over the past couple of games, I've been a little skeptical about his strategy. I know blowout wins are great, the stats are great, but I'm not really sure it's sustainable. And the reason I say that is that over the past couple of games, the strategy more or less has been around one or two guys, and that's CMC and Brandon Ayuk. Now, as good as they are, I'm not really sure, again, like this is sustainable. We saw what we saw last night. We saw mid-fourth quarter, we're up by 2 possessions, and they're still playing CMC, and they're still putting Brock Purdy, and they're still having him put it into the end zone. I'm afraid that doing this and just going up on this strategy is, one, where you're putting these players they're going to get injured soon, and what happens if you do that? And so that's something that worries me. If you keep doing that, what's going to happen? And then two, if these guys get injured, what kind of strategy do you have as a follow-up? Because, yeah, we have Debo, but I don't think really Debo has given us a good game this year. I haven't seen a good performance.
Oh, gosh, you weren't watching when the New York Giants came to town, were you? You missed that game.
I would. I watched every game.
Okay.
Every game, but I'm not. This is not.
Debo was unbelievable in that game, Bruce.
Yes, he was, but it's not Debo that we saw last year, and it's definitely Debo that we saw yesterday. He wasn't called on at all.
Well, because he's hurt.
So did you see the Mac Jones? Did you see the Cowboys game yesterday?
I did.
Okay. Did you see Mac Jones lead the game in the late third quarter?
I did.
Okay. Did you listen to why Bill Belichick did that?
Why do you think he did that? And yes, I did. But go ahead.
He said his reasoning was he said there was no point in leaving him in.
Right, but
you could debate that.
But what do you think? What do you think he meant by that, Bruce?
Well, first of all, I really think that he was trying to send a message to his quarterback. But what he said in the media is that there's no point in keeping him in. Like, I could tell, like, even if his point was trying to send a message to his quarterback, I still think it was a good move because he's protecting his quarterback. This whole season can flip in one snap. And
yeah, of course it can, Bruce. But let us respond to that. First of all, I do not read the Belichick comments the way you do, Bruce. He was not protecting Mac Jones. I think he wanted to kick Mac Jones in the side of the head is what he wanted to do yesterday.
I mean, those things can be equally true.
Maybe.
Because you could be trying to protect him because he's not healthy, but you're also protecting him because he's not very good.
Yeah, the Brock Purdy thing. Brock Purdy, in my opinion, has not been put in harm's way needlessly by Kyle Shanahan. There's a McCaffrey conversation to have. There's no doubt. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not for keeping him in too long. Like, I do think that sometimes we do this. We've fallen into a trap as 49er fans because they're so good and because we're so confident in them. We look at a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter and we're like, yo, this puppy is baked. Let's get McCaffrey out of here. No, dude, you're only up by 12 points. That's not an over game with 9 minutes to go. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing, especially with Eli Mitchell out, you don't have any veterans to turn to in the backfield. You got to keep playing, and you got to put the other team away. And they did. Now, just by mere number of touches.
98.
That's a lot.
98, Mark.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's
okay?
24 and a half per game. 20 carries a game, leads the NFL in carries, and he's got 18 catches, which puts him 38th, and that puts him in, I believe, second among running backs. So no, it's Jacobs and McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. He's third in catches, and he's tied with Jacobs, and he is one behind Bijan. So, yes, the usage is
it's a lot.
It's a bit of a concern. He's on pace for more than 400 touches, which would be more than he ever had in Carolina.
Right. So I think there's a fair conversation there. I don't really know. I mean, maybe we can ask Doc Pandia this week. You know, sometimes I look at it and people go, oh, gosh, you can't do that in the NFL. as if 380 touches is somehow not dangerous.
Right.
Like, good God, right? So I think this in the end, which is it's going to be uncomfortable to watch sometimes. And I think there's a fair conversation to have as to whether or not Christian could go from the 25 touches a game down to more like 20. But I think Niner fans need to acknowledge that doesn't make him safe. Okay? 20 touches a game puts you at a number that's more comfortable for you. And I actually don't know if the injury rate goes down really all that much.
The only thing that goes down is the number of times that you are going to be tackled, which by the very essence of a violent game should make it less likely that you're going to be hurt via a football-related tackle. Ty Davis-Price yesterday was far less likely to get hurt than Christian McCaffrey by the very fact that he did not play on offense. So to that extent, yes. Now, how much does it go down versus how much do you need him to go out there and win? That's a Kyle Shanahan question. And I know this. If Christian McCaffrey were to sustain any type of injury in a game where they have a lead late in the second half, he'll be criticized.
No doubt about it. I'm counting up how many touches did he have last year? Did you check that?
I'm looking right now. He had 211 with the Niners and a 118. He had 329.
329. Yeah, exactly.
He had 403 in 2019. He led the league, and that's his career high. He had 2,392 scrimmage yards and 19 total touchdowns.
Yeah, and I look at the playoffs last year, and I go, well, he didn't look worn down. He looked great in the Eagles game. Then again, we also heard reports where, his legs were, like they had to do a hell of a lot of work to have him ready for that game. Now they did, and that's football. That's life. So I don't know. I look at this and I go, I'm not sure there's a whole lot that the Niners can do about it. He's their bread and butter, and they're going to go to him. But I also hear people's concerns. It's a lot of touches. It's a lot of touches, especially for a team you're now going to 17 games. You've got two Thursday night games this year, and you have aspirations to play in February 2024. So, yeah, it's a conversation, no doubt.
It's difficult, though, because when you watch him play and you see what he does, he's an absolute difference maker, and he's on a track to be the most valuable player.
Yep.
So I would imagine that Christian McCaffrey doesn't want to come out of the game at all.
Of course not.
And you saw it yesterday in the second half where he comes out and Mason got a catch and a carry, and McCaffrey came right back in. Now, I don't know if he's calling his own number on
that's
those.
about enough of that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It was back-to-back on that last touchdown drive.
Well,
Mason for 3. Mason got one in the pass game, and that's it. Here comes CMC.
The usage was unbelievable in this game, okay? So Christian McCaffrey got 20 of the 31 carries.
Right.
Okay, and 3 of those that he didn't get were Purdy and Darnold. So like you had a kneel down in there, you had the QB sneak for the touchdown, but he's getting 2/3 of the carries out of the backfield. And then if we go to target share, 8 of the 21 targets were Christian. That's north of a third. So you're talking about almost exactly a third of the balls that go out in a 49er football game are going to Christian McCaffrey. Do you know what I mean? Like Ayuk and McCaffrey had 2/3 of all targets. They didn't even try to throw it to anybody else.
Yeah, 1 to Kittle, and Ray had a couple.
He had a couple.
Juszczyk had a couple, and he just had the 1.
Bell 1, Kittle 1, Juice 1, Snead 1, Mason 1.
Snead, that's right.
Yeah.
Snead had the 1.
Ray had 2, and everything else was McCaffrey and Ayuk. It's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't have that many plays, 55 total on offense, and McCaffrey played 47. So on 28 of his 47 snaps, they came his way with the 20 carries and the 7 catches. So, you might as well, if you're going to have him out there, you might as well use him. And honestly, and this is where I'm going to side with Kyle, because if you have that guy on your team and you want to gain yards, because that's kind of what you want to do on offense, how do you not give him the ball every single time? He can catch it. He can avoid tackles. He can run through people. He can play in any spot you want to put him. He's the ultimate luxury.
Well, and I look at the Arizona Cardinals after a game like yesterday, and I kind of, what the hell were you guys doing? I mean, honestly, on defense, if you're the defensive coordinator of the Cardinals, and I understand how hard it is, the 49ers are very, very, very good. So I'm not trying to make this sound easy, but Bill Belichick became famous on the defensive side of the ball, even when he had Brady on offense. But famously, Belichick goes into a game and goes, all right, what's your bread and butter? Okay, now it's not. We're taking that away.
Right.
What other pitch do you have? Now, the Niners have a lot. But in this particular case, when it became obvious that Deebo Samuel was compromised, is not his normal self, and you're looking at it's just McCaffrey, okay, a little Ayuk. McCaffrey, okay, a little Ayuk. Like, that was the entire game, and they never, ever did anything to seemingly slow that down at all. How many of Ayuk's catches were even in traffic? There was the one down the sideline, the beautiful back shoulder throw, but largely when they threw it to Ayuk, he was wide open. So
it's because they were trying to then key on Christian McCaffrey.
I guess, but like what? If I'm a DC, if I'm the Cowboys DC,
right?
Aren't you going into this game going, look, all the resources go to McCaffrey, and
sure.
let's see if Brock Purdy can beat us with Deebo and Brandon. That's what I would do.
Easier said than done.
Sure.
And I'm looking at the opening drive, and they come out with the 2 running backs and the 1 tight end. McCaffrey, ground game, boom, he gets 6. They go to the huddle. Same personnel, no sub. You break the huddle. McCaffrey's out wide. Deebo's the running back. And then you send Juszczyk in double motion, and now it's Deebo, the running back, and McCaffrey out wide. So what are you going to do? Are you playing the pass on 2nd and 4 with McCaffrey out wide? Are you playing Deebo in the run? They give it to Deebo. He goes for 3, and you bring in a second tight end. Now you go big, and you convert it, and you go back, and you go play action to Ayuk on the next play. I think that this offense is such a nightmare because even when you try to stop McCaffrey, and on that first down play at the 43, they do that. Play action. Oh, Ayuk for 16. It's like, man, we were sold out to stop McCaffrey, and he pulled the okey doke on us and moved the chains.
Yeah, the 49ers are really good for a reason. I get it. It's not easy to stop. It just struck me yesterday that the Niners were not even forced to try to go to anybody else.
True.
They were not. It was like Christian, and if you want to try to take it away, hey, Brandon. And he was open every time. And that was it. They didn't need to even try anything else. And what'd you say? 5 touchdowns in 6 drives?
Yes.
Right. And only the penalty on which led to the incompletion.
Yeah, it was the sack that led to
sack. I'm sorry, not the penalty.
2nd and 12, McKivitz kind of whiffed on the block.
Yeah.
And then that set up the 3rd and 24, and then that was it. That led to the only incompletion.
That's what makes you look at this to me and get really excited, because if the Niners are blessed with health, I don't really know what it is that's going to consistently slow them down. However, I also think we as fans, we're going to need to reason with the idea that the really important players are going to play. They're going to play a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to get hit. They're going to get dinged. Ayuk's already missed a game, and in my mind, Deebo kind of sort of did too. I know he was out there.
I mean, he played.
He played
87% of the snaps.
I know he was out there, but it was obvious that he was not going to be a big part of the game plan. He was being protected.
Yeah.
And so that's fine. So call it missing half of a game, whatever it is. Like, they've already in 4 games, they've been dinged a little bit by key players.
Right.
You just hope that nobody, I think there's going to be more of that. You hope that nobody gets one of the season-long deals.
Of course.
That's the thing.
Especially the one guy who appears to be on an MVP track. I mean, even though you mentioned it, you missed Ayuk for a game. All right, Deebo. He stepped up, and our last caller was wrong when he said, I'm waiting for Deebo's breakout game.
Yeah.
He was huge against the Giants. And if you have a game where if McCaffrey needs a week to get over something minor, can you get by? Well, Eli Mitchell was out yesterday, but can you get by with Mason and TDP and do things a little bit differently? I believe that you can, because you have such a diversity of weapons.
No, I think the depth is obviously one of the 49ers' biggest strengths. I do wonder, with the way Brock has played, if anybody wants to adjust their thought that, like, Sam can come in and the offense will essentially look pretty much the same. You still feel that way?
It's hard to say, because yesterday, and I watched the game back this morning, 21 throws from Brock, and thank you. Of the 21 throws, he completed 20 of them, and there weren't that many that were like, oh, wow. I mean, eye-popping. You had a lot of guys who were open. You had some short passes. You had a few that were...
He threw downfield.
He threw downfield.
283 yards on only 20 completions.
You're misconstruing what I'm saying.
No, I'm just...
He throws deep to Ayuk, and he kind of underthrows him. Ayuk makes a great adjustment and catches the back half of the ball.
I think on purpose underthrew him.
I don't know about
He
that.
had two defenders over the top.
Right. He could have thrown it toward the boundary where there was more open space. Either way, that to me was not... Like, that throw was probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10 in terms of, like, wow. The throw to Ayuk back shoulder, that was a 9.
That's a wow
That's
throw.
a great throw.
Yep.
Because he knows the defender's over the top, the open space is behind. Ayuk knows it too. Back shoulder, boop, move the chains. He had a couple that were between defenders, a couple to CMC.
Yep.
And those were good throws, but made better by the fact that these guys caught the football.
No doubt.
No drops.
Deep cross to Brandon Ayuk, also right side of the field.
Yes.
Absolutely. Brandon was very open, but a very accurate delivery. Like, that's another thing you really notice. Guys are able to catch the ball and continue running.
And I think that, again, I don't want to give too much credit to Kyle Shanahan because Brock Purdy was spectacular. I mean, that has to be a Niner record for completion percentage in a game.
Yes.
I mean,
the answer is it is. It broke Steve Young's record.
20 for 21.
Yeah.
So Brock was amazing, but I do think Sam could have come in and completed a lot of that. The one thing we don't know is how much of this is Brock's brain, because he has an unbelievable knack of knowing when and where to deliver the football.
Brock Purdy is the NFL's, for whatever stat you want to grab, he is the NFL's top-rated passer right now. He is also one of 10 quarterbacks who are over the 1,000-yard mark. We are not even at the quarter pole, and the 49ers have not had that 4,000-yard quarterback in many, many, many years. And so Brock, so far so good, 4 games in. Brock Purdy has thrown for more yards than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
year.
wow.
More yards than Patrick Mahomes.
Better record, too.
So, better touchdown to interception ratio. Let's see. Patrick's been sacked fewer times. So there you go. He's got that going for him. Joe in San Jose. Hey, Joe. You're on with Willard and Dibs. What's up?
How you guys doing today?
Great.
So first off, I want to say rest in peace to Russ Francis.
Yeah.
Good one.
Some prayers out to his family.
Yep.
Thoughts and prayers out to his family. Secondly, I mean, it's football. It's a physical game. People are going to get hurt. People get hurt all the time. You play one set of downs or 20 sets of downs, you run the risk of getting hurt. Any play can hurt you. So sitting there and worrying about injuries, that's something that we have to do every season. That I don't think that's any different than any other day. I feel that as far as things that we should be concerned about with our boys, I think Colton McKivitz and Lenore, I think, are 2 areas that can hurt us down the season. I think those are areas that we're a little weak in. And Brock Purdy's fantastic. He's showing everybody how great he is every game. He would be even greater if he had just another second of time or another second and a half of time. I can only imagine if he had more time to pick defenses apart, how much greater he could even be. And I think that needs to be addressed. As far as the Cardinals game go, it was fantastic. I was a little concerned when they did go 99 yards into our house. That did bother me. I do think that the defense has let up a little bit. They're playing with a little bit more silk gloves than an iron gauntlet, so to speak. And I think they can because they have faith in their offense. So I think they're not risking as much right now, but I do think they need to tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah, Joe, that's an interesting one. Now, I appreciate it. Very good call. I'm not sure if he meant Lenore or Ambry Thomas.
They both had a couple of moments.
They've both been wobbly a little bit. Sometimes I look at that and go, God, look, you can't have the best player in the league at every position. But I think you're pointing to the right people in terms of ones who make you chew on a fingernail here or there. I totally get that. How good has the defense been? We can get into this a little bit coming up next because statistically, They are still going to, they're sitting there in top 5 in all the categories. But I feel like people are waiting for something to look more fierce than it does. And what I don't know yet is if the Niners defense hasn't fully hit a stride or if offenses are so risk averse when going against the Niners that they're just going to continue to take those 6-yard dumps over the middle. And, sometimes you can drive all the way down the field doing that. Sometimes you can't. Takes a lot of time. Bottom line is you're going to end up in the teens in points and you're going to lose. Defense has been really good.